Good morning. It's Thursday, May 20th, 2021. My name's John Gilkison, and wanted to shoot this short video on the Ford Lightning electric truck reveal, which was last night. I've already seen, has to be a good half dozen or so YouTube videos that have been posted by your major uh, programmers that do electric vehicles and automotive stuff on YouTube, and it was amazing. Within a half hour or so, they'd already posted their videos. I wanted to take overnight to collect some thoughts on it, and so I want to go back to this series of three graphs that me and Phil Knox presented to you a few months back on the Cybertruck versus the Rivian and the Ford electric offering, which hadn't been revealed at that time, but we kind of knew what it would be. And so here they are. Now what I want you to do is I want you to ignore this graph right here. This graph right here is for a 0.40 drag coefficient. Now all these graphs represent 36 square feet of frontal area and a 6,000 pound vehicle, which is kind of right in the middle where we think all these would be. Some are a little more, some are a little less on mass, but they're pretty much equivalent on frontal area. And anyway, as I pointed out in the first video, the mere act of electrifying a truck body will probably, a standard truck body, will probably reduce its drag from 0.40 down to 0.35, which is Rivian territory. That old style truck body tended to be around 0.4 because of the air inlets in the front for the cooling the motor, and the underneath of the vehicles were usually pretty rugged under there because they weren't paneled in. It's pretty hard to panel in the underbody of a pickup truck with an internal combustion engine because of all the stuff you got to go around, and manufacturers don't tend to do it. But with an electric truck, you need to do it. And so a standard pickup truck body, 0.35 drag coefficient. Here's a Cybertruck. And just from what I seen last night, looking at the, I'm just checking time here, looking at the Ford pickup truck, it's still a standard pickup truck body, and so it falls squarely right in this category right here. So this is your performance. I've seen some of the presenters, one of them I left a comment for, Transport Evolved. They seem to be confused about the difference between road load and peak horsepower. This a vehicle that's at a steady state speed going down the highway experiences what we call road load. And what I want you to do is imagine that you have your vehicle, your pickup truck in this instance, is being pulled by an invisible tow rope. And forget all about the drivetrain. It doesn't matter what it is. But it has the mass and it has the body form. And it's being towed down a road by this invisible rope at a certain speed. And when it does that, the physics of the thing is that it only knows about the aerodynamic resistance and the rolling resistance. Those are the two basic counter forces. The air inlets for cooling, obviously, are part of the aerodynamic loading. So the blue line under here is the rolling resistance, and this is assuming fairly normal tires, but large, like you'd have in a pickup truck. And this is the Cybertruck right here. So you can see at 70 miles per hour, we're taking 24 kilowatts to produce, to power the vehicle at 70 miles per hour. And over here, the Cybertruck at 70 miles per hour takes 18. So that's 6 less horsepower. That's 25% less horsepower to do the same speed, because this one has a drag coefficient of 0.30. That's the Cybertruck. This one has a drag coefficient of 0.35. Just that difference is all the difference in this graph here that you're seeing on the slope of this line and how soon it's executed. So I wasn't surprised at all to see that the Ford Lightning would come in 2 flavors. It had a standard range, as we'll call it, of 230 miles, which I'm guesstimating to be a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. And I've seen various commentators all over the map on that, even all the way from 80 kilowatt hours up to 120. And the extended range version has a range of 300 miles. So these ranges are usually estimated somewhere in the high 60s, 65 miles per hour region. So that would mean 21 kilowatts here for the Ford and the Rivian, and it would mean about between 16 and 17 kilowatts for the Cybertruck. So now there's still, I called last night's reveal a half of a reveal, because it didn't reveal the battery sizes, and they did say that you could power a house with 30 kilowatt hours a day for 3 days. So I think minimum we have to have a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack to do that. 130 would be preferable. And of course, they mainly talked about the 300 mile range variant. They didn't dwell on the 230 mile range variant. They didn't even mention it. The only reason any of us know about it is because it's in the Ford.com site where you'd go to reserve the vehicle. This morning the news came out they had 20,000, 12 hours after the event, they had 20,000 reservations. The Cybertruck had 120,000, 140,000, something like that, within 12 hours after the reveal of it. And it looked like Ford's playing it cautious. They didn't go with any radical changes to the body style. I really like their vehicle to load or vehicle to home capability. I think Tesla is really missing the boat on this. I think part of the reason Tesla hasn't done it yet, or doesn't seem to want to do it, is because of the Tesla Powerwall, which is one of their business models, and they don't want their vehicles competing with their own product. And I think it's just nuts, because now they've turned around and told people you can't even have one of their power walls installed unless you buy their solar products. So and here's all this battery power sitting around in your vehicle and you can't use it. They'll even void the warranty if you try. So I think they're really off the mark there, and it's going to bite them in the ass. And this Ford truck thing is with its power to home is going to be a big seller. And I think Ford's not realizing that they have the opposite problem. They're worried the public isn't going to embrace their electric truck, and they won't sell very many. And I think instead they're looking at the Osborne effect, and they don't realize it. Um, there's going to be people that want to buy their truck just because of this vehicle to home power setup. And if all you need is 300 miles of range. Now, that said, the $40,000 entry price that they quoted is for the 230-mile range vehicle. And my guess is, and we won't have any numbers on this for quite a little while, but the 300-mile range truck is probably the bottom end as far as specs, as far as all your bells and whistles. It's probably going to start around 54,000 or so, would be my guess. So that's what you're looking at. That's still a good price. Don't get me wrong. A lot of their standard trucks, the Lariat and so forth, with the bells and whistles, come in at that price or higher. So um, I really applaud Ford for doing this, and the electric vehicle's really coming of age, and people are starting to get it. And so I didn't really do any mathematics on what this means, as far as I could do some back mathematics is what I'm trying to get at. In other words, I could narrow the battery output, the battery capacity of the Ford trucks simply by doing back mathematics. In other words, I would go here and look at these figures here and figure out what kind of battery capacity you would need at 70 miles per hour to hit this 300 miles of range. And these are not very complicated. They're simple um, calculations. So, and I have yet to do that. So, but I'm going to button this up right now. Congratulations to Ford. Congratulations to anyone, including Transport of All, who's put down a reservation for this thing. And me and my wife are seriously thinking about one ourselves, simply because of this vehicle to home capability that truck will have. And we already have a Ford pickup truck that's a gasser, but and we tow with it. And so having a pickup truck like this just for our daily use would make sense. I think it puts, the other thing I could do back mathematics on is the miles per gallon. I think that the Ford pickup truck is going to come in around 70 miles per gallon. It's somewhere between 65 and 75. So that's all I can tell you now until I do crunch the numbers. So we'll see you on down the road, everyone. Happy electron guzzling. Take care, and I'll get back to you on some of this. Bye-bye.